Hey, Sawyer, look at this new podium. It's my new podium. It's not decked out yet. So we bought a new one. After 100 years, we figured that we were due. How old was that podium? I may have to auction it off. Well, it looked like 100 years old. Say hi to Chuck Sawyer.
Life is good.
That's been a change. Hey, look at that troublemaker.
$10? I didn't even think about that. There's Mark's default.
I remember one that had been doing this every week for years. I wouldn't want to bring it out. We gave away 2 weeks ago. We're recognizing you and your brother today. How cool. Well, it's good. I like that. Your mom's a treasure. Although we have no idea who Dorothy is. It's a whole nother discussion. She was mentioned somewhere as Dorothy. I'm like, who's that? She's now like God's sister. So if somebody calls you Dorothy, you know that somebody looking for something that Dot doesn't want.
I sit at the left hand of power today.
Well, that's Joni.
Extreme left hand. Well, it didn't
If you haven't bought your raffle ticket yet, make Chris happy. Joni, I'm coming for you next. Joni Condit, I know you have money to buy a raffle ticket, so I'm coming over there.
All right.
I remember that day. You may remember the day when they did the lottery and on the TV screen and go on the calendar. And when your birthday came up, it was a number. My number was 17. I knew I wanted to do it. No, actually, I'm not really
where I get to sit, next to
So now I'm
you.
sitting at both the left and right-handed power.
Is this the other funny gentleman?
So given all the bandwidth of medical practice, why did you choose it?
Beat you alternative, not hesitate. Well, somebody's gonna grab a dessert.
Maybe John. Oh, okay. When is it? It's gone. Yeah, I'm a halfway. Hi, David. So,
Oh, hey, good for you guys. Awesome.
who's the photographer? And who was working in the package store? Well, I saw one of you at the package store. And who wanted to go to medical school? Anyway, good to see you all here. And, thank you, Dot, for your contribution.
Over there, Bruce. Over there. How good is that?
Thank you. So, when early on in this, I still want to say,
Oh, he's gonna join you.
and in those days, service were terrible. But in a way, it worked out because the first 2 years, everybody did the same thing. Got it off. Again, so I
That's a lot of attrition.
And I still kind of wanted to but I began to see that general surgery, that hospital was a fast there was general surgery who did I could see that everybody eased out. You know, I could get now. And I came back to Vietnam, I died up. I'd rather deal with quality of life.
Were you a GMO in Vietnam? Were you operating?
2 years of surgery, I knew there wasn't I had an opportunity to volunteer. Anyway, when I got back to Vietnam, again I tried to write I had actually signed up for 1 more year for my I had to do it. And I really, I appreciate it. I like seeing all the guys that
Doing technical education.
the operation is usually 2 hours long. not dealing with that. You can't terminate.
I was going to say, well, spending as much time as you did in general surgery, you had your fair share of anastomosis of bowels and the integrated programs are growing. There's an appeal to them that I worry about Rotary as much as I think it's in terms of the specialty approach like plastics. Plastics is now an integrated business. It means you come out of medical school and you go directly into plastic surgery.
Discomfort with that is that means
So I've been spending the last few weeks working on a project recently. One of the big things I'm looking at is how maladaptive the system is to the consequences. And what you just characterized has played out across the country in terms of inadequate experiential base for off-service redeployment. So we've had so many doctors, you're probably aware of this, we've had psychiatrists reassigned to pulmonary care in New York. I mean, it's wild.
well,
Yeah.
that'll definitely expose your recovery.
The point is that we just ran out of people.
So that's why I said.
Well, I know we still have some folks waiting to get their lunch going through the buffet, but if we don't start at 12:15, we're not going to stay on time and on calendar. So first off, I just want to say hip, hip, hooray. COVID masking policy is over for a while. My hope is that absolutely continues. Second, did you notice something different today? How about a new freaking podium? Do you like this? So no longer this is tall enough for me and low enough for those that need some help going south. So for whatever it's worth, we got the new podium. We'll get that. We'll get it all doctored up with the Rotary emblem and that stuff later, but I'm just tickled to have it. I'd like to have a brief moment of silence, if we might, on behalf of what's going on in Ukraine. I think we know people are over there in a fight for their lives and for democracy. I wanted to give you just a snapshot, if I could, really quick, just on what's going on over there with Rotary. There's 62 Rotary clubs over there. There's also 6 satellite clubs over in Ukraine that collectively are 1,100 different members. They also have, I think, 24 Rotaract clubs over there with about 300 people. So just a moment of silence for those folks, if we might. I probably got more messages from people about Ukraine and what's Rotary doing than probably any single thing that I've had during my administration. The foundation met and had a discussion about Ukraine, and I'm really tickled, and I think you will be as well, with what they decide to do. I've asked Joni to address that, if you would. Joni?
Thanks, President Mark. I know some people are still coming in, so hopefully those of you at the tables who hear this will share it with people if they don't hear it. As President Mark just commented, many Rotarians across the world are really concerned about the plight of the Ukrainian people whose lives have been horribly disrupted and their homes and their cities destroyed. And not unexpectedly, as the Rotarians across the world are responding in several ways to help Ukrainians. You may have seen the updates that have come out from Governor Hank of District 5500 describing some of these opportunities. Some of you have already made donations. If you're interested in making a donation to help Ukrainian refugees, our club's foundation board this week approved matching funds up to $10,000 in donations designated to the Rotary International Disaster Relief Fund for Ukraine. These funds, if you write a check to the Rotary Disaster Relief Fund for Ukraine, would allow you to also have the match and would also qualify for matching points for Paul Harris. So you really get a twofer there, and I think it's really compelling to some of you who would like to do that. If you want to do this, please let Charlotte Harris know. She can help direct you to what you need to do. If you've already made such a donation and want to talk to her about it, you can also do that. Alternately, if you would like instead to donate to Rotary's partnership with shelter boxes, you can do so online if you like, www.shelterboxusa.org/Ukraine-crisis-appeal/. If you need that, we'll put it up on our website on our next report. Donations to the shelter box, although it's a partnership, are not eligible for the matching points, right, Charlotte? Shelter box is not eligible. But they do great things, and several of our past presidents' years, we have donated to Haiti with that, and we've done other things. So those shelter boxes are really important for providing refugee help. So we very much like our club members to show support for this. If you have any questions, please contact me or Charlotte. Thanks very much.
By the way, I didn't see anybody write that address down, so I didn't want you to worry about it. We will get an email out so that you have all that connectivity information so that you can go and do all the above. And look at there. I just got my first check for $1,000. How cool is that? Guess who that's from? The Condits. Am I allowed to say how much? $1,000 match. So that's our very first one. Joni, thank you so much. Seriously, we'll get an email out on all that so everybody knows what's going on. And by the way, I didn't really introduce Joni well. I think everybody knows that she was our 90th president back in 2011 and 12, and she runs La Posada. And Don Shropshire brought her into the club. Time to go on to the pledge and song. Deanna Kern's going to do our song for us. She joined our club in September of 21. Her classification is real estate residential. She is with RE/MAX Select, and she's a graduate of the University of Phoenix. She's going to lead us in the pledge, and then afterwards she's going to join with Chris Dodge in singing My Country 'Tis of Thee. Deanna.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deanna and Chris and all of you, thank you, thank you. So next up, we've got John Duvall. He's going to do our inspiration. He joined our club in June of last year. His classification is retired hospital administration, and he's a graduate of the University of California at Irvine. John.
Thank you, President Mark. So a couple of weeks back, I was rummaging through my desk during a uniquely boring Zoom call, something you all relate to. And I came across a file that I'd stuffed pearls of wisdom in over the years. So I'm here to share this with you. I found it unique in how beautifully it aligned with our four-way test. So here it goes. Lessons from the Geese, written by Angeles Ariane. This fall, when you see geese heading south for the winter, flying in a V formation, you might consider what scientists have discovered about how and why they flew. Fact. Each bird flaps its wings, it creates uplift for the bird immediately following. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock has at least 71% greater range than if a bird flew on his own. Lesson. People who share common direction and a sense of community can get where they are going more quickly and easily because they're traveling on the thrust of one another. Fact. When a goose flies out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of trying to go it alone. It quickly gets back into formation to take advantage of lifting power of the bird in front of it. Lesson. If we have as much common sense as a goose, we stay in formation with those headed where we want to go. We are willing to accept their help and give help to others. It's harder to do something alone than together. Fact. When a goose gets tired, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies into the point position. Lesson. It is sensible to take turns doing the hard and demanding tasks and sharing leadership. As with the geese, people are interdependent of each other's skills, capabilities, and unique arrangements of gifts, talents, and resources. Fact. Geese flying in formation honk from behind to encourage those up front to keep up their speed. Lesson. We need to make sure our honking is encouraging. In groups where there is encouragement, the production is much greater. The power of encouragement to stand by one's heart and core values and encourage the heart and core of others is the quality of honking we seek. We need to make sure our honking is encouraging and not discouraging. Fact. When a goose gets sick, wounded, or shot down, two other geese will drop out of formation with that goose and follow it down to help and to provide protection. To stay with the fallen goose until it dies or is able to fly again. Then they launch out on their own with another formation to catch up with their flock. Lesson. If we have the sense of a goose, we will stand by our colleagues and each other in difficult times as well as good.
That was pretty doggone good, and I'm thinking the flying may have a little something to do with what's going on today with our program. So it's time to introduce our visiting guests and Rotarians. Chris Dodge is our Sergeant-at-Arms. He joined our club in February of 20. His classification is Entertainment, Music, Chris Dodge Entertainment. He's a U of A grad, and he serves, as I mentioned, as our Sergeant-at-Arms and does one heck of a job. Chris Dodge.
I have to stop in awe of this podium for just a moment. Looks like it's made of real wood, and I won't get splinters today while announcing our guest. All right, there's a lot of you, so here we go. I'll try to go quickly, but yet respectfully. Guest of Rob LeMaster, say hello to Stephanie Kidder. Hi, Stephanie. Guest of Larry Adamson, say hello to Tom McKinney. Hi, Tom. Guest of Shar Harris, say hello to Jenny Flynn. Hi, Jenny. And another guest of Shar Harris, say hello to Clint Maybe. Hi, Clint. And guest of Daryl Stewart, say hello to John Marnell. Hi, John. There you are. And guest of Matt Blair, say hello to Nate Garr. Hi, Nate. And still going. Another guest of Matt Blair, say hello to John Lee. Hi, John. And guest of Bobby Larson, say hello to Catherine Vaughn. Hi, Catherine. Guest of Kathleen Wicks, say hello to Lynette Wells. Hey, Lynette. Guest of Dot Kretz, say hello to David Lex and Nathan Lex. You guys are good. You got both of them in there, so very good. Guest of Marcy Euler, say hello to Gracie Quiroz Morum. Hi, Gracie. And guest of Dave Gallagher, say hello to Thomas Robertson. Hi, Thomas. And Dave, I guess. Yeah. Guest of John Harned. Say hello to Alicia Dernan. Hi, Alicia. And guest of Wes Wiggins. Sandra Johnson. Hi, Sandra. And guest of Denise Newton. Say hello to Kimberly Neal. Hi, Kimberly. Guest of Brett Stein. Say hello to Marine Lieutenant Colonel Marvin Schweninger. Hello, Marvin. Yeah, you guys tried to get all of that in there. I appreciate that. And also guest of Brett Stein. Say hello to his son, Avon Stein. Hey, Avon. And guest of John Harned. Say hello to Michael and Melissa Monty. Hi, Michael and Melissa. Guest of Joe Donaszewski. Hello to Don Rieger. Hi, Don. I'm not done yet. Another guest of Joe's. Say hello to Kurt Weigel. Hi, Kurt. Guest of Mark Irvin. Bill Shaw. Hi, Bill. Guest of Mark Irvin. Jeff Miller. And as well as Tim Dunn. Hi, Tim. And guest of Gary Hirsch. Say hello to Kim Moon. Hi, Kim. And Carlos Borelli as well. Hi, Carlos. And guest of Danielle. Say hello to Ryan Golseth. Hi, Ryan. And guest of Vicky Jacobs. Say hello to Nancy and Shayna Farber. Hi, Nancy and Shayna. And guest of Alan Rogers. Say hello to Roger Snap. Sorry, I can't read. My bad. And, my guest, she's sitting right over there. Say hello to Cheetah Stevenson. And guest of Gene. Say hello to his daughter, Dr. Angel Casagrande. There you are. And she's going to be the winner, perhaps, of the raffle today. And our final guest, a guest of Denise Neaston. Say hello to Kristen Mamana. Where are you, Kristen? Thank you. I think that's it, Mark.
We will not have a program today. We spent too much time introducing guests. On a serious note, I'm really excited to have the 162nd Wing here. I'm pretty involved at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, as many people are, and I think there's a real misunderstanding about what the 162nd Wing is, how amazing it is to Tucson, and we've got some people here to talk about it with us today. First, I'd like you just to turn your attention to the screen. You'll see a little video introduction of our keynote speakers done by our pals Matt Russell and Rick Rose at Film Creations. Switcher team, could you run that for us, please?
Colonel Sandy Wilson is the first female commander of the 162nd Morris Air National Guard Base. She began her career as an enlisted airman in 1982 and was commissioned through the Academy of Military Sciences in 1996. Colonel Wilson has served in multiple leadership roles at the 162nd, including Mission Support Commander, and she's even a retired TPD detective. Colonel Jason D. Dickinson is the commander of the 162nd Maintenance Group. He's responsible for the leadership and direction of a group of over 850 airmen. A graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, he attended undergraduate flight training at Reese Air Force Base in Texas, where he graduated as a distinguished graduate, followed by F-16 fighter training at Luke Air Force Base, Arizona. Colonel Dickinson served for over 10 years in the active duty Air Force as an operational F-16 pilot and instructor, and he's served the 162nd Wing in various roles. Most Tucsonans think the 162nd Morris Air National Guard Wing, located at Tucson International Airport, is part of Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. But the 162nd is a separate entity and unique to the entire U.S. Air Force. In fact, when the Air Force is looking for ways to operate more efficiently, they look to the 162nd as they consider it the jewel of the Air Force. The primary mission of the 162nd Air Wing is education and flight training for international F-16 Fighting Falcon pilots. These pilots are the cream of the crop, and while their nationalities and cultures may be different, these coalition pilots share common bonds, the love of freedom and the love of flying. There are nearly 3,000 airmen and civilians who work at the 162nd, which contributes over $280 million annually to the Tucson economy. In addition to being the largest training base for F-16 pilots in the world, the 162nd performs air defense and homeland protection missions right here in the United States. In support of Operation Noble Eagle, Arizona Air National Guard airmen and their F-16 perform an aerospace control alert mission 24/7, 365 days per year in order to respond to any threat facing the Southwest United States. Let's have a patriotic Rotary welcome for Colonel Sandy Wilson and Colonel Jason Dickinson.
Hello, everybody. Thanks. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today. Again, I'm Sandy Wilson, my friend Jason, and we're going to talk to you about our wing. First, we wanted to show the video. Is it too late to show the video first? If it's not, I think that'll rev you guys up, get you excited. I mean, that introduction, you couldn't top that, right? But we've got a video. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, we're really proud of our wing. We are indeed the jewel of Tucson, or at least one of the jewels. And we're going to go through a little bit of what we do on the base and what we're all about. Slide, please. All right, I'm not going to read to you, but just so you know, the Air National Guard is citizen airmen. We have a dual purpose. Many people work in this community and are in the National Guard 1 week in a month, and then some others are full-time. So we are citizen airmen. We mostly grew up here, and so this is our community, and we're well invested in that. We have 3 missions. We have a war fight, of course, and that includes the MQ-9 that you saw. We have a Homeland Security. We've stood on the border mission. We do counter-drug tasks, and then we also respond to the governor whenever he needs a helping hand. And then partnerships, it's a pretty big part of what we do. And it's not just the international partners that we train, but it's partners in the community as well. Why don't you go, Jay?
Sure. So for our manning, like Colonel Wilson was saying, that a lot of people don't realize we are essentially part of the state. You know, we're underneath the governor for the majority of our time, unless we're called to active service by the federal government. They can call us up, and that happened during the COVID times where we had people called up to help with that mission. But for the most part, we're under state control. So we're a little bit unique in that you can see we have almost 2,000 people out at our base, but we have a big full-time presence at our base because of our training missions. So we have 72 F-16s on base. We're constantly flying every single day, training a lot of U.S. and international pilots. So you can kind of see our breakup there. We have some people that are on what's called active guard status, essentially just like active duty, and then a lot of people that work under the civil service system as well. But that keeps our mission together with a hodgepodge of active duty, civil servants, and then our part-timers that come in and help as well.
Yep, we're the largest Air National Guard base in the nation, so the largest standalone Air National Guard, and probably most of you never heard of us, so we are the best kept secret too. Yep. Slide, please.
And one of the great things about the Guard, you know, as we talk about citizen airmen, I'm a Tucson native, grew up here, went to Canyon Del Oro High School, went on to active duty, but then I was able to get, see, Dorados? Yeah. But I was able to get back here and serve in my hometown, and it's just a great way to serve in the Air National Guard, to be part of it. You get just a little bit more stable and more part of the local community. So one of the things that it does is people stay for a long time. So we have an extremely experienced instructor pilot staff that we have out there, and that really helps, especially when training a lot of our foreign allies to have that much experience. So, and it's the same on the maintenance side, the maintenance group as well. We have technicians that stay with us until they're age 60. So we'll have them for 30 years that they'll be working on these jets. They know more than the manufacturers at some point by the time they're done. So it's just great to have that experience here in Tucson.
Okay, this is a normal wing and how it's set up. The only difference here is we have 2 operations groups. So we have the F-16 side of the house, and then we have the MQ-9 side of the house. And the MQ-9 are based out of Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, so we actually have a tenant unit there in that.
I kind of mentioned this. So we have 72 F-16s. A lot of people don't know that out there in Tucson. We're on the north side of the TIA property out there, but that's bigger than a lot of countries' air forces. So we got a lot of jets out there. That's kind of my main role right now. I'm the maintenance group commander, so I'm kind of charged with keeping all those old jets flying, which is not always easy to do. But we do a pretty good job of keeping them up in the air.
And Colonel Dickinson is a pilot too, so just something he didn't mention is our pilots are the best of the best, right? So if you're going to train other pilots on how to fly an F-16, you've got to be the best of the best. Slide.
Here's kind of our local flying area. If you're familiar, obviously Tucson's right there in the middle of the map, and one of the things that keeps us, one of the reasons we have so many aircraft is that Arizona is just built for fighter training. You know, the weather, we fly, 360 of the 365 days out of the year. And then we have a lot of great airspace. So we use the airspace to the north, as you can see, kind of up over the Globe, San Carlos area. We have airspace out to the east over Tombstone. And then the whole Goldwater Range Complex, if you've heard of that, there's lots of opportunities to do air-to-ground training out there. There's fake runways, fake tanks, all kinds of targets out on the ground out there. So we just have a fantastic airspace that helps us with our mission as well.
All right, so I talked about partnerships a little bit. These are some of the countries that we've worked with. The dark ones are ones that have been here before. The italicized have maintenance training, right?
Yep, and or exchange instructors that are here right now with us as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Slide, please. So when you talk about global impact, I think it's really important to recognize that when we're training foreign pilots, these guys go back and they normally come from princes and so, all the way down. So they don't join the military the same way we join. We don't have to have a king for a dad, right? And so they do sometimes. And when they go back, we've got a lot of good relationships with those foreign countries. And so it serves the United States very, very well to train those allies.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, that's one of the most unique things that's happened to me with this whole Ukraine situation is that we started back, obviously when I joined the Air Force, Poland was an enemy of ours, or at least not an ally at the time. And we basically have trained their entire Air Force. They used to fly MiG-29s. We took their first, this was probably 15 years ago, their first F-16 pilot came from Poland. Didn't speak very good English, but we got them trained up. We've been trained their entire instructor corps. And now 15 years later, they're a full NATO ally that's heavily involved in what's going on over there. So to me, it's just one of those, sometimes people ask me, why are we training all these foreign countries? Well, that's why. We need these allies around the world, and it really does help build those coalitions.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so over at Davis-Monthan is the 214th. They're the MQ-9 mission. They take and fly overseas, multiple different areas of wartime places, and take out terrorists and targets. So it's pretty cool that they can do that from their home in Tucson. And then we also have a little plane called the RC-26, and they work very closely with Border Patrol.
Oh, guess I better talk about this. It's a maintenance group. So, like I said, yeah, a lot of aircraft out there. We do a ton of flying. So, we typically fly, let's see, doing math in public. About 50 lines a day, so 50 sorties every single day, where we know two big goes. If you're ever out at the airport, probably at about 8 a.m. you'll see a bunch of aircraft taking off. About 9:30 you'll see them all coming home, and then again about 12:30 you'll see them all taking off, and then they'll all come home about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. So the maintenance guys are really working hard in between the goes to get those jets fueled up and then fixing anything that goes wrong. And then we do a lot of the long-term phase maintenance to keep those things flying as well.
Our medical group is just like traditional DSGs, weekenders, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year kind of airmen. They're there to make sure that our pilots continue to fly and are safe to fly and healthy. But if we needed something, say we bumped our head, we'd call our fire departments because they're not a treatment facility. And the mission support group. I used to be the mission support group commander, so I'm very well equipped to be able to talk about that. So if you think about mission support, it's kind of like the city manager of the wing, and all those entities fall under it.
We do sit alert. Ever since 9/11, we had the alert facility here had kind of we kind of unpostured, I guess you would say, from having that filled. And then after 9/11, our unit stood up the next day with F-16s over there, and we've held that position ever since. So there's always jets 24/7. The jets are cranked, basically ready to go. The pilots sleep there, and if the horn goes off, they can be airborne in a very short amount of time if needed.
Which should make you feel very safe.
Yep.
All right, in the middle of our wing is the Air National Guard Reserve Test Center. These guys are just a tenant organization on our base, but we've considered ourselves very lucky to have them because they're creating the technology and the equipment that's keeping us most relevant and in the fight, and super capable, a little bit above everybody else in the world. Well, that's our base. And so how do you get 72 aircraft on a 92-acre postage stamp? Well, you get them in there pretty creatively. We've got super cool and qualified engineers that help us be able to figure out a way to put all those aircraft on our flight line. And we share that runway with Tucson International. We have a very good partnership with Tucson Airport, and we're expanding just a little bit.
And the base has obviously a great economic impact for the city as well. So these numbers are actually a little bit old, but I bet it's even higher now. But we obviously, with that much payroll in the city, and like I said, these are citizen airmen that live in Tucson, stay in Tucson. They don't go anywhere else. So that money helps to go back into our local businesses and economy, which is great.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about being a guardsman is that they work in the community and then they come out, and so we get, say, like a banker who fixes airplanes on the weekend, or we get an FBI agent who, does something else when he comes out on the weekend. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then future growth for us, we think we'll be in the F-16 business. There's still, obviously, the active duty Air Force is moving a lot towards the F-35 and replacing a lot of the F-16s, but the F-16 is still going to be in business for quite a while, and particularly on our foreign training side. That's the main aircraft that we sell to our allies. So we've got a pretty bright future of keeping that training going here. And then expanding our MQ-9 operations as well, because that asset is always in high demand these days.
Yeah, but one important part of our continuity and our continuance is the support of our community. It's very, very important that we get that support. We've got the Air Guardians, who are kind of like the DM50, and they support us. In fact, they're having a golf tournament on the 16th, so if you want to see the table and look at that, but little plug there. But it is very important that we have our community support, and it makes a difference in our lives. Well, critical projects. So these are some big projects that we're doing. So our main gate is going to be switched to Park Avenue, just Park in Valencia there. We're going to change it there so we have long queuing, so it's a little more safe for the defenders can react appropriately if somebody breaches our gate. And you want to talk about aircraft arresting systems?
Yeah, I think Sandy mentioned this. We've had a great relationship with the Tucson Airport Authority. They do a great job sequencing. Like I said, we got a ton of aircraft, and they're sequencing those in with all the airliner traffic that's there as well. So they are building, it's kind of a joint project where they are building an entire new runway. If you're familiar at all, runway 11 right is now a small runway just basically for Cessna-type aircraft. That's going to expand to another full runway that's capable of handling airliners, or the plan is mainly to put most of the military traffic on that outside runway. It helps for noise abatement as well, keeping us away from the city as best we can, which is great. And then, what's that?
It makes it a little safer.
Yes, and safer for sure. So it's great to have to have such a great working relationship with the Tucson Airport Authority.
And we're moving the munitions storage annex. When we built the MSA, is what we call it, it's in the middle of our base right now. It wasn't in the middle of our base when we put it there, but as you can imagine, it's not the smartest place to have it. So we've been working very proactively with Raytheon, the Air Force, the airport, but about a 5-way deal. It's Pima County, and they got some land over there off of by Raytheon. So we're going to be moving our bomb storage stuff down south.
Yep.
Away from us.
It's very good. Yep.
So, in a nutshell, that's what we do. That's who we are. We're very, very proud of it. We're very proud of our wing, our airmen. We're professional, and it's a good place to work. So, if you got kids or grandkids, send them our way. We're always recruiting.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So you fly the drones out there. Like, what kind of technology? How can you sit in Tucson and fly something 3,000 miles away? Obviously, some sort of satellite thing, or 5G network, maybe.
So we do both, actually. So we have what's called a launch and recovery element. So that's the actual aircraft, and because of the bandwidth that you're talking about, you need to have a launch and recovery element close to the aircraft, so someone takes it off. Then once it's airborne, someone other in another area can take it over remotely, fly it for where they need to, and then as it comes back in, they transfer control back to the launch and recovery element, and they'll land the aircraft.
I love that teamwork.
Yeah,
concept.
remotely
That's very
piloted.
cool. Larry has a question.
On your map, you did not have Poland or Ukraine listed as a partner. Is that up to date? And my real question is, talk to us about Ukrainian pilots being able to use MiGs from Poland, and what can they do, what they can't do.
Sure. So on the map, Poland should be on there if they're not, because we've been training them. Yeah, okay. Ukraine is not. Ukraine pilots we've never trained. They've always been, again, Soviet bloc, so they've been mostly MiG-29 trained by the Russians. Now, Poland does have MiG-29s that are left over. They've gone mostly to the F-16. I think Poland would love to give their MiG-29s away and have us give them more F-16s. So they're all in on that plan so far. I mean, I can't make political statements, obviously, but we're not so much on board yet. Again, just for the fear of this thing, it is very scary. I was talking to Marvin about this, about how, again, this is personal feelings. People sometimes that are isolated, these leaders think they have more control than they really do, and this thing can spiral quickly. So it's a very scary and touchy situation. So I think that's the main reason that it's a little bit stalled right now. Ukrainian pilots do. They have MiG-29s. So if Poland was able to give their MiG-29s to them, they could fly them.
Yeah.
Yep.
We have time for just one more question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I actually have two questions. First, I'd like to know who are the manufacturers of the two main aircraft, the X-16 and the UAV?
Yep.
And then the other one, years ago, when we had something called base realignment and closure, I seem to remember that the citizens of Tucson offered to relocate the runways of the airport to avoid, I don't know, civilian, whatever it was. And I just wondered if there's any more talk about something like that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. The manufacturers are Lockheed Martin. They do both of those. BRAC issue, I'm not sure when BRAC happened with DM if they were ever on the list or not. What typically happens with the BRAC, unfortunately, is the Air Force says, hey, this is our budget. We need to save money. We need to close bases. And then the congressmen and senators from those states say, you're not closing my base, and nothing happens. So that's typically the way the BRAC goes, unfortunately. But one of the things I know, again, in our great relationship with the city and the Tucson Airport Authority, is they've actually made it a corridor to the south of our runway. They've bought all that land, and they're allowing some businesses and other industries to go in there, but no housing that's going to cause a problem in the future. So that's great for us that they're really, and we primarily take off to the south because of that. Unless the winds are really, really crazy, we always take off away from the city. We always come back away from it as well. So that's what we try to do anyway.
Thank you, Colonels.
Yep.
So I think it's great that there's a lot of questions, and I kind of figured there would be. So I've already asked both of them if they would stick around in case there are additional questions. So a couple things that are kind of fun. So as you guys know, we have a book that we put in our Make Way for Books library to help us focus on literacy issues with children. And this one is Take Off, All About Airplanes. It's been signed. It'll make its way into that into our Make Way for Books library. So now it's that time for birthdays. And we only have one today, and that's actually he was born yesterday plus a few years. And that's our pal John Wong. He was born on the 15th. He joined our club in February of '83. His classification is Medical and Healthcare Orthopedics, Tucson Orthopedic Institute. I think everybody knows that he's a graduate of... Thank you. I just didn't know if anybody'd forgotten. And he was our club's 85th president back in '06 and '07. I didn't mean to say that way, back in those days, but it was back in those days, I guess. So what don't you know about John? Well, did you know he was born in a Buddhist temple? You did. Good on you. Did you know that John joined Rotary to expand his horizons beyond his medical friends and patients? You did. You knew that already. Did you know that he stays because he's gained these great friendships with all of us over these years? Did you know that? Okay. How about this one? What are his plans for making things better? You don't know this, do you? He's going to keep on keeping on. John.
Thank you, President. Is this on? Yep. Thank you, President Mark. I have given 2 checks to Dorina, one for our Scholarship Endowment Fund as part of our club foundation, and the other is to the Paul Harris Society. And I've already made a donation through RI for Ukraine. I just want to say thank you very much for all of the wonderful things that you all do. It's been a pleasure to be part of this and a privilege. And I want to emphasize to those who have not actually worked at the car show, one of the principles we set forth in starting this whole thing back in 2006 is that we would have everybody in the club do something. And you don't have to be an Energizer bunny. You don't even have to stand on your feet for 6 hours. There are all kinds of things and ways that you can be productive. If you can stay awake for 6 hours, you can help us. So come on out. Thank you.
John, thank you. I used to have a little hitch in my giddy up until the fine Doc fixed it for me, so thank you for that, Doc. We've got a couple of new members we're going to introduce. First up, we've got Gary Frank, and Gary joined our club in June of 18. His classification is real estate, mortgage lending. He's with Altitude Home Loans, and he's a graduate of the University of Arizona. He's going to be introduced Deanna Kern, who just did our pledge and song. Her classification is going to be real estate as well, residential. Gary, come on up.
Good afternoon, everybody. I met Deanna Kern last year while helping her finance her home on her move to Tucson. She came to Tucson to be closer to her youngest daughter and her grandchildren. And due to her research, she found out that I was a Rotarian, so we hit it off immediately, as she was a Rotarian in California. So a little bit about Deanna. Deanna is from Santa Barbara County in California, and she lived and worked there most of her life. After a career in construction business management, she moved into working for the Boys and Girls Clubs in Santa Barbara County and was there for 16 years, where she was eventually managing the 5 locations in the area and serving on their board of directors. Along the way, she obtained her bachelor's in business management from the University of Phoenix. In 2017, she retired from the nonprofit sector and built a real estate practice in the area, in which she is now transitioning here to Tucson. She has 4 children, with the youngest being 18 and the oldest 35, 5 grandchildren, all under 9 years old. So some fun facts about Deanna. Her daughter here in Tucson went to ASU, but this is cool. She was the 2013 NCAA champion in the hammer throw. Right on. Also, her hobby when she was younger was drag racing. Wow. And she's jumped out of an airplane at 17,000 feet with the oxygen and everything. So she admits that she's an adrenaline junkie. Lastly, Deanna was both the treasurer and the president over the years of her Rotary Club in Lompoc, of which she was a member for 14 years. And she's jumped right into being involved here in our club. So I'm certainly glad to introduce her today. So everybody please welcome Deanna Marie Kern.
Thank you. One of the things that has blown me away from the very beginning is how a group this big could be just so wonderful, like the small group that I came from. So thank you, everyone, for welcoming me and for calling me, emailing me, getting me to remember, hey, Wednesdays at noon is when we meet. So thank you for all your hospitality. I look forward to being and working with such a great, wonderful group and doing things like this. I mean, this means a lot to me. This is my passion, and I look forward to being a part of your group. So thank you.
How cool was that? I loved all the stuff about Boys and Girls Club. We'll be having discussions about that later, trust me. So next up, we have our friend, the fine Dr. Hugh Thompson. You joined our club in June of '89. Classification is medical health care, orthopedic surgery. Dr. Thompson's a graduate of Yale, and he was our club's 76th president back in '97 and '98. He's going to be introducing Doug Lowell, and Doug's classification is medical health care, general surgery. A little side note here. Doug was actually brought to us by Ann Lucero, and you just stole him from her. So there we go.
Good afternoon. At age 12, one of Doug's great-grandfathers, Douglas Cummings, signed on as a cabin boy in New York and sailed around the Horn to San Francisco. He survived the wild San Francisco of the gold rush days, ultimately becoming a freighter, transporting heavy mining equipment in a 20-mule team Conestoga from San Francisco to the booming town of Tombstone of the late 1800s and early 1900s, settling in Arizona. Doug's other grandfather, a widower and mining engineer in Arizona, built the research station on Tumamoc Hill, and while he did his consulting all over southern Arizona, he left his 7-year-old son, Doug's granddad, and 3-year-old brother to fend for themselves in a 10-by-10 tent at One Anklam Road. Doug's dad became a world-famous exploration geologist with a knack for locating large copper deposits. Doug was born in 1956 in Prescott, and 4 years later moved to Tucson. He went to CDO and the U of A, and on being accepted to Harvard Medical School, Doug's grandfather, Glenton Sykes, a longtime member of this club, was so proud of Doug, he took him to Rotary and paid the 50-cent toll for a Happy Jackson minute to tell the club about Doug's achievement. 45 years later, Doug is being reintroduced to Rotary Club of Tucson as a member. After medical school and 9 years of special surgical training, Doug returned to Tucson and with past President Don Shropshire's help joined our own Dr. Bert Strug's cardiac practice and started a pediatric cardiology department at Tucson Medical Center to compete with the University Medical Center. Having always had an interest in taking care of the children from Mexico with heart defects, he spent an unsuccessful year trying to figure out a way to make this cross-border project work, ending up in Don Shropshire's office again. Don said, "Try Rotary." Our own Guard Pierce took up the banner and Proyecto Amanecer was born. 5 years later, over 210 pediatric patients in Hermosillo had corrective heart surgery or successful medical treatment. Doug practiced in Tucson for 30 years, has 4 grown college graduates from his first marriage, and manages a couple of ranches in the Rio Rico area. He loves to fly, ski, and cycle, having ridden in over 15 Tour de Tucsons. He also loves hot cars, motorcycles, and golf. His present wife, Elizabeth, is a nurse practitioner and works with the Border Patrol taking care of incarcerated immigrants. Please give a warm Rotary welcome to Dr. Douglas Lowell, a do-something guy.
Thank you. I remember being in this club 45 years ago, and all I can say is we're not getting any younger. I'm extremely pleased to be back. I'd like to shout out again to my grandfather, Glenton Sykes, who was a staunch member of Rotary and would be happy to see this. Thanks for having me in your club. All right, picture? Come on, all four of us.
We do have a Paul Harris Fellow. This is going to be pretty fun. Charlotte Harris is going to come up and do this. Charlotte joined our club back in November of 2000. Classification, Education, Administrative Secondary. She's a U of A grad. She knows a little bit something about Sal Point. She was our club's 87th president in 08 and 09, and she has a special presentation to David and Nathan Lex, who just happen to be Dot Kretz, not Dorothy, but Dot Kretz sons. Charlotte.
The Paul Harris Fellowship was established in honor of Paul Harris in 1957 to express appreciation for contributions to the programs of the Rotary Foundation that save and invigorate the lives of people around the world. Today we honor David and Nathan Lex, who are receiving this recognition because their mother, fellow Rotarian Dot Kret, believes that their lives exemplify the humanitarian and education objectives of the Rotary Foundation, demonstrating in each their commitment to helping persons in need. They are both wearing their Paul Harris Fellow pins, and Dot will present them with their certificates as we make the presentations. Both David and Nathan were born and raised in Tucson and are graduates of Tucson High School. Nathan, who's in the green shirt, has always been a numbers kind of guy, having won several awards for winning math competitions as far back as elementary school. He started working at DKA when he was 9, earning certification as a behavioral health technician, and has served in many capacities for the company, such as computer class instructor, job coach, and assistant manager for Pac Mail, to mention a few. He had worked at the Pima County Library for 3 years teaching computer skills when COVID hit and he was laid off. So he went back to school full-time and will graduate from Western Governors University next year with double majors in cloud computing and Amazon Web Services. If David's face looks familiar to this group, it could be because he spoke here a while ago for his bar mitzvah when he was 13. He raised more than $5,000 for the Community Food Bank and gave a presentation to this club about food insecurity and poverty in our town. As a senior at Tucson High, he won the school, city, and state awards in photography and represented Arizona in the national championship and won. Since then, he has earned his behavioral health technician certification, worked as a trainer, job coach, and as a production manager for Archive Advantage. He will graduate from the U of A in May with a degree in journalism and is establishing his own photography business. By the way, today is David's 31st birthday, and Mom wants to share his talents with the photos on the screen. The photo on the left is Nathan, taken by David for his large format photography class with the ancient 4-inch by 5-inch camera with old-time film, a tripod, and a cloth over his head, and then developed the photo in the darkroom and printed it. The photo on the right is a self-portrait of David that he took with the same camera. Now, Nathan and David, I don't know if your mom warned you, but as part of this recognition, we provide gifts of little or no value. For you to share, we have a recent fashion statement item in which we hope goes out of style soon. It's a bag of N95 masks. I'm going to put you in charge of it, Nathan, okay? To split with your brother. And for David, we have a miniature birthday cake with candles for this special day to share with your mom and your brother. We can all be proud of the men these boys have become and look forward to celebrating their accomplishments in the future. Please join me in congratulating Nathan and David, our newest Paul Harris Fellows.
Well, we actually have a little raffle, and then we have an auction. And while Chris Dodge is walking up here, let me just tell you, this F-16 simulator is really, really a cool deal. Having been in an F-16 before, I don't see how these guys do that. So I think I'd just love to maybe stick with the simulator. But thank you for that donation. By the way, that donation is going to be used for our Presidential Discretionary Fund, and that's going to go into our project that we'll be doing in April at the Boys and Girls Club. So more on that later. But Chris, to you, my friend.
And what Mark is alluding to is, I have the certificate. This is priceless because normal people can't get this, right? It's not like something that's offered to the public. It's being offered to Rotarians. But not for free. Not for free at all. They tell me I could start the bidding at $150 for that. Do I have $150? Mark's in for $150. I don't want Mark to win this. I really don't. Could someone get me a $175? We got $175 for Jen. $200 to Mark. $2 to Mark. $225. $225 to Drew. $250. We got $250. Do we have $275? $275. Do I see a hand over here on my right up on by the podium? I got $275 to Mark. Do I have $300? $300 back to Drew. $350 to Mark. $350. $4. We have $4. Who is it? Jenny's for $4. Do I have $450? Terry. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Terry. All right, we have $4. $450. Do I have $450? $425.
What was it, $450?
$450.
I'll do $450.
$450 to Mark. Guys, let's make it $500. Come on. The Tucson Rotary Club can make it to $500, right? $5.
Okay, so this might be kind of cool. So you probably saw somebody walk up and say something to me. It's the amazing past President Cliff who has said, Mark, I'll throw in an A10 sim ride as well. So how about that? There's another one for you to auction. So you bought the one at $500.
And you're in for $500 for the A10.
I'll do $500 for the A10.
Okay, so you have won the $500 for this simulator, $500 for the A10. Do we have $550? Or are we going to keep it at $5? $500, we're there. Mark, you have the A10.
Perfect.
The Rotary has just donated $1,000 to. Thank you, guys. This seems like pittance comparatively, but $75 is in my pocket to give away. Colonel, draw the lucky number. And the number is 583147. Oh, please win, please win. Oh, we have a winner right there next to Hugh Thompson. And then I'm going to give you $75. And to get this, hey, Lynn DeVoe, talk to me about beer. Okay, while I'm pulling out the cards. I hear that we're selling beer at the street fair, first weekend in April. Is that correct?
April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Do we need volunteers?
We need volunteers.
Do they need to come talk to you?
Yes, they do, or they could sign up from the email that I sent out a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, so they could sign up from Lynn DeVoe's email, or they can come talk to Lynn afterward. I mean, what's better than selling beer on a Saturday afternoon? Selling car show tickets.
Oh, Chris, one more thing. I'm going to do I have to do liquor training for the people that have signed up. So we're going to do that right after the meeting. And if you can't do it today, Roger's going to do it next week.
Does that include drinking, or is that just
drinking?
What is that training? I just want to know what it is. I might want to help.
The pot is triple digits now. It's over $100, guys. So, but you're not going to win it because it's the 10 of hearts. But you do win the $75. So I'll give that to you. Back to you, Mark.
Chris, thank you.
Yeah.
So we do have a couple of announcements real quickly. We'll talk about the fly fishing fund. So all these does go into the President Discretionary Fund, which goes to our Boys and Girls Club project. And you're probably wondering who's won. You can see the next slide. Look at all these people that are on the Wall of Fame. You only got 10 more chances, guys, so if you don't reach out, you're going to lose your chance. So who's the lucky person this week? It is Check this out. The picture on the left is a statue, but we're letting it in because it's bigger than the fish on the right. So that's it. So I just want to thank you for that. You can see how the fund is growing. We're north of 5,000, working our way towards 6. So thank all of you for participating in that. Another quick announcement, our time capsule. We have a date now. It's going to be on the 21st of April. We'll put a note out with this. It'll be from about 5:30 till about 7 o'clock. It'll be at Hotel Congress in the courtyard. We'll probably figure out a way to get a food truck in there, and we'll have a cash bar. It'll just be a lot of fun, and they have promised they're going to have some great music there for all of those that feel like they want to shake a leg. I will not be one of those, but do mark that in your calendar. Chris, you have a note on hiking?
Yeah, we're going hiking on Saturday. Bruce Richardson and myself will be leading the hike. It's Finger Rock Trail. We can take our time getting up to the top, but you do have to be able to take some elevation in. It's a lot of fun. There's an abandoned mine up there. We'll tour the mine. I've been in it before. It's cool. It's safe.
Perfect.
So.
Can you get the mic down here to Bruce so he can make a quick announcement on, you want to come up here, Bruce?
I'm ahead of you, Mark.
You got anyone. Perfect. Tell us about Proof.
Just real quick is the sign up for Proof, which is going to be on Wednesday the 30th. Please go in and sign up. We've got the patio. The weather should be great. There'll be music out there. So sign up, bring your guests, and have a good time. But one other thing before I turn the mic back over to you, Mr. President.
What's that?
Sometimes, you enjoy people being fined, which goes into, for polio or discretionary fund or things of that nature. But our very own president, Mark, is being recognized with a Lifetime Achievement Award for the Boy Scouts. And, that kind of press, how much would it cost to get this kind of public recognition as a Lifetime Achievement Award? And, Mark, I think that this has got to be worth something.
It's worth your attendance, Bruce.
We are going to put out notification as far as for those that would like to attend. All the details will come out in an email.
Bruce, thank you. So I kind of
wait, President. I think we didn't hear a number though.
I just spent $500. Give me a break here for a second.
That was totally different.
I'm worth $100. I'll kick another $100. How's that? All right. There we go. There we go. So I kind of saved not necessarily the best for last because I thought the program was the best, but this is March Madness. We're going to close with some notes from our pal Chuck Sawyer. Chuck.
Thank you, President Mark. So March Madness, here's our first, I guess, a big welcome to all of our guests that are here. Hopefully you found something good in this meeting. You enjoyed it. We had a big turnout today. We had over 30 guests here today as part of our membership drive, which is terrific. But we also had a competition that ended last week, and here are the results. In terms of March Madness, here's our bracket. And what we found is we had in the first break the Rockies versus the Newton's Knights. And the winner is... We got Denise Newton and her assistant coaches, and we have the Rockies joining that team for this round. Next up, we have the No Bull and Curtis Dawson versus the Roadrunners and Joe Danishevsky, and the winner is Curtis Dawson and his assistant coaches. We have another team, and that's the left side of our bracket going forward till next week. Next up, we have the right side of the bracket. We have Wiggs winners and the Thunder, Matt Blair and Wes Wiggins. And the winner is... We got Wes Wiggins and Wiggs winners and the best music maybe of the whole band right here. Listen to that bass. It's pretty cool. Gary Olson and Leah Marquez Peterson helping him. And then last we have Logan's Heroes and we have Team Victory. And the winner is Vic and Team Victory. So what have we learned in all of this? Couple things. We've already had 4 new members and two applications in process from the first 2 weeks. We had a total of 45 guests, and for our members, or for our guests here, that's That's a total of out of about 200 folks. So we have a lot of folks still in the process coming through for the next couple weeks. Left side of the bracket, we tried to keep them pretty balanced. It was 67 points to 61, so the teams seem pretty balanced. And it's down to 0. So all you folks that are out there, if you haven't brought a guest in yet for the members, go ahead and think about who you'd like to bring in and who would be a good member. And it all starts over again for the next 2 weeks and then for the final in the finals as well. And if you haven't brought a member in yet, just think of somebody who would be a good member in Rotary and ask them. Talk to your coaches, get involved, and thank you all, and thank all the guests for being here. Appreciate it much. Thanks, Mark.
Chuck, thank you. So I just want to say thanks for all of you for joining us today, whether you're in person or you joined us virtually. We hope you enjoyed the meeting. If you want more information, just seek out a Rotarian or stop by that back table. We'd love to talk to you. I'd like to thank those of you that are sustaining members to our scholarship cups. For those of you that aren't, feel free to make a donation. Those are all there. For those that have a badge, please turn it back in the right numbered place so Deanna doesn't get after me. If you've not gotten your Rotary pin, you got to still ask yourself, why not? They're free. They're in the back. Please go get one. John, happy birthday. Thanks for getting the giddy up out of my git. David and Nathan, congratulations to both of you and your Paul Harris. So next week, guys, you need to be here. This is our JTED meeting. We'll have Kathy Prather here. In fact, Colonel Dixon would just tell me that he's getting ready to do a brief with JTED in about a week or so, which is great. So now it's that time for our toast and adjournment. To peace. In the words of a great general, Dwight David Eisenhower, who said, "We know that there is no true and lasting cure for the world's tensions and guns and bombs. We know that there is only the spirit and mind of men dedicated to justice and right that can, in the long term, enable us to live in the confident tranquility that should be every man's heritage. Here's to those who provide the banner of freedom we all enjoy." We are adjourned.